Harville and Arbor and Steele. I got Kennett. And I do a ton for Kennett. My company did a ton. Show of hands of the other companies that give scholarships every year, that sponsor teams every year, that have a citywide cleanup every year and spring clean. I could go on. There's none. So I came and I begged, please don't do this, or I'm gonna go out of business because I won't get the bid unless you pick it based on best bid, not lowest bid. Almost universally in the room, city members attending the town hall meetings and council members said, we don't want to put anybody that's mom and pop. Because technically, at the time, Sharps was not even local. We got to redefine local. They're in Deering. Now I'm here in support of them tonight also, but mostly to save my own skin. But local is here. At the time, they didn't have any employees from Kennett. Now they have all mine, and they're paying them all, and they're paying them better than I did. God bless them. So they're local. But you said, we don't want to put any mom and pops out of business. And I understood that, and I thought that was great.
And the reason I went ahead and voted for it, because I was under the impression that you was going out.
Yes, well, I'm getting to that. There was no chicanery, but there was somebody that had the same mindset that you're in that said, if they're not interested in putting anybody out of business, and it wasn't anybody on the council, before anybody crosses their eyes and says anything when a foul, Marco and the company he represents came to me and said, it's gonna take a leap of faith on your part, and you might get screwed, and don't think that I haven't been in terror that it was gonna happen, but it finally didn't. You're not close enough to see my face breaking out like a teenager's because of the worry that I've been under since before Thanksgiving, that I was gonna get wrecked. But they came and said, we'll offer to buy you if you're willing to take the chance that we won't get the bid. Well, I wasn't gonna get the bid anyway, so why not? So I agreed, if they agreed, if they got the bid, that there would be a purchase of me. That may have been naive on my part, but I knew I wouldn't go get the bid because I wasn't gonna be the lowest bid. So why not take the chance that they would get the bid and I could get out of the trash business where I clearly do not belong. And so the night that they voted the bid in, hallelujah, this may happen after all like it's supposed to. And so I made decisions based on that night's voting to proceed with my future that has now come to a screeching halt. I'm going to be in violation of a contract I signed to buy a photo studio for my wife. Because this is not happening. Now, that's none of your problems. I'm screwed on every front if this doesn't work out the way it needs to work out. But I'm asking you to bear in mind that during the course of moving toward this, when they came in the first night and said, we want to vote on municipal trash, I came and begged, please don't. Please don't. Okay, we don't want to put anybody out of business. But there were town hall meetings, and everybody at the meeting seemed pretty much for it. You know, we went through that crap where we were going to split the town up, and Sharps was going to get some, and I was going to get some, and that was never going to work, trust me. We went through look at the traffic that we're not going to have on the roads, because we're going to have fewer trucks, which is ridiculous, because FedEx and all those other people are still going to be running. But I kept begging, please don't do it. Well, you know what? The next meeting, they said, we're going to open bids for municipal trash. So I was either screwed if I bid, or screwed if they didn't get the bid. Thank God they did get the bid, and so I've moved on, but now we've moved back to where we were.
I can tell you on my part, if you would have put in the bid, I would not have voted for citywide trash. Because I would not have put anybody out of business. Because I was under the impression that you wanted to go out. And that was another reason for my vote.
I'm gonna leave. I need everybody to understand the weight of the individual weight. It doesn't have any bearing on the future success of Sharps other than fact they're gonna minimize some of their customers. I don't know how many you said, how many residential customers the Republic has in Kennett? 75. Okay. They're still
So,
gonna have.
I got a question for you then.
Okay.
Because I knew that, but I wasn't gonna say anything about it, but, so we're fighting over 75 customers to have a trash pick for the city of Kennett people, it's $8 more a month average over the next 5 years. Because obviously, you're getting the business anyway. Sharp is. So what you're saying is, it's a deal breaker because of those. Y'all are upset that you're not getting, there's gotta be reasoning here, because if you're willing to bill it, you're willing to take the bad debt possibility. Okay, so that crosses that off. So you got all the customers with 75, but you want a contract with the city. The city council can decide how many there's an ordinance that says they decide how many trash companies can be here. So, I mean, they've got control that there's 2 right now, or there was 3. They can control where they can just say, we're not adding any more. It's gonna be like it is. Sharp's picked up all the Wheelers, and Republic still has theirs, and the open market, I guess you would say, or it pushes price down. Because if I've had somebody say, well, Republic charged me X amount of dollars, and they shouldn't have. I was supposed to be this, and they charged me this. Well, call Republic and say, we're not gonna do that.
What I have a statement there too. My mother had Republic. She was paying $178 every 3 months. We called and never changed. I know another gentleman pays $100 a month to Republic. I just called and never changed.
Well, and I have a statement for that. Don't call Republic. Call Sharp, say, Sharp, I want Republic out, I want.
That's what I'm saying.
Good luck getting another contract.
Good luck, yeah, it's contract.
They're awfully
They're gonna
good.
pay every single month until it's over.
Residential doesn't have contracts like that.
Oh, yes, they do.
I promise you we do.
I have one more question. for you. After we canceled her service, she received another bill for $80 because she got out before the 3 months. Even though she paid the 3 months, never got a refund, she still had to pay $80.
I'd have to look into it, but residential open market is different than the municipal contracts. But when you were talking about the 2 differences, you're talking about not going with a franchise, the municipal contract, and leaving it as is what you're
I'm saying if we leave it as is,
and then keep what they currently have,
yeah, right now
which
as
is
it
lower
is, you've got
rates than
70,
they're currently.
I guess you're Republic.
Yes.
Okay, so you've got 75 customers that are residential. Y'all got the rest.
Mhm.
Why are you pushing so hard to get those other 75 is what I'm trying to
Because
get
it's a
at.
higher rate, and they'll get new
I'm
trucks.
not,
No, no, no,
It's not really a higher rate.
It's not a higher, it's not a higher rate. We built
It
it.
was advertised on their
What is
website
it?
for $21.
What is
but now it's
everybody-
Absolutely it is. I'm paying 22 now, and what's your bid?
I was.
What is
you
your
know,
bid?
you know, I put the
Everybody-
extra on top of it was what we built in
What
for
was
you
your
guys
bid,
to pay,
Marco?
$23.85.
What was your bid, Marco?
$23.85, that's what I just said. Why
Okay,
didn't you
then
ask me
it's higher than
twice?
22, so it did go up.
That's what I put in for you guys to bill it,
Why did you put that in? It wasn't part of the RFP, was it?
because we know how to
Did you
bid
put-
shit.
Was it part of the RFP? Was it part of it?
Tell me how.
So it's a
the
non,
RFP went.
so it's
Tell
a
me how the
non,
RFP went.
was it in there?
Okay, we'll take our billing off, and then there you go, we'll go back to what we were.
How about we do it for the city
Was
of
it in the
Kennett,
RFP, Marco?
the citizens of
There
Kennett?
wasn't a real
Forget
RFP.
that. Nobody in the citizens, none of the citizens in Kennett want this deal. Put it to
Whoa,
a
whoa, whoa,
vote
I
and
don't
you'll
know
see.
about that,
There's a
Jimmy.
lot of them
There's a
that
lot to
do want it.
do.
I was here in November when they talked about doing this deal.
There was 8
Every-
people here.
There was what?
About 8 people.
There sure was. AP, he's right. AP, and Wheeler's right. Everything he said that I remember, he's right, what he said. 8 people did stand up and talk that day, and every one of them was against it besides 2. You remember the 2? One was Wheeler's dad, which he did stand up, if I believe, and said, anytime he's seen it come in the city, it hadn't benefited. He talked, he had some good points, and I was already against him when he stood up, but he had good points. And then the other was Crafton's dad, and he stood up and said all he wanted to do is make sure you put in there that the trucks were 1 and 2 years old. That was it. The rest of them was against it. The citizens of Kennett are not for this. We're still dealing with this since November. I'm sorry it's put in the business. This has happened before with city council stuff. But you need to do for the citizens of Kennett. Not what the bid is, not what this is. we're talking about this and we got other things we need to be dealing with. As far as I'm concerned, that's just me.
To your point, Tony, it seems to me that it is silly that Sharp is holding on, fighting so hard for 75, but they realize if this goes back to bid and Republicans, they got 4,000 something stops to lose, while Republicans got 4,000 something to gain for a town where they have, residentially, they have very little stake in the game right now. As I depart, my recommendation would be that you go back to the status quo and let the market drive everything and just table this indefinitely, maybe even put an ordinance in place saying you can't vote it up again until.
Can I ask a question? John, don't leave just yet.
Yes.
Okay, I'm really
sorry, I'm only
coming here
doing
to listen, and I've learned something tonight for the first time, that the number of divisions. I would have been, if you would have asked me 5 minutes ago, I would have figured it was roughly divided about the number of people. My point is, a couple of things are true, I think, without dispute. Number one, this has become a very controversial issue. It's getting really- And then number two, Marco, hang on a second.
Yeah.
And then number two, I'm big enough to say that in my professional life, I've made mistakes and I've go back and fix them. I think the city council would agree they made a mistake when they wrote their request for proposals. County outlined some of that. It was unfair. Sharp was a victim, Republic was a victim of a mistake, not an intentional act, not a malicious act. The hindsight is, we all look back, you should have written, as this lady said, a very long request for proposals to say, so that it's apples to apples, so that you could lay it on the table and compare it. But all of that said, why, it would seem that John is right, in the sense that, why are we having this argument? Why don't we just do away with the whole bidding process and say,